you said that COVID might have been the fuel to kind of push you in directions that you weren't, that maybe you knew you had to go, but it forced your hand to move in a direction that maybe you wanted to go. Does but they've also mentioned that COVID, or the I guess the religion of COVID, of how everybody respects the authority of COVID and all that. Is there any correlation or a way that, how we look down, well, not look down, we can look at people that are religious about COVID, and how you said, hey, like your point of view is to say, hey, these people don't even know, they're not even awake. When I see those people, I mean like people that aren't in our circles. Is there a way to respect how some people can just live that way and not be in the bubble of like knowing a lot of these things, where they would just wake up, go to work, put the mask on, like they're not in our bubble of things, and maybe you moving or moving these directions was a counter to that. But is there any respect built into that, or is it simply like, hey, these people just don't know, and I got to react differently?
I could definitely say, like, in my younger days, I definitely had more of that sheeple mentality, like, oh, these sheeple just following along. And I certainly have my moments where I think that to myself for sure when I see a lot of things, but I don't think that's a helpful way to look at things. And I think we have to, like you said, a lot of people just don't think about this stuff. Like when they see lockdowns and mass mandates and they hear people on TV saying things and people in government saying things, they just see the world as it is, and they're not versed in where these things might lead, and they just don't think about it. They're thinking about their lives. They're thinking about, I'm working tomorrow. What am I doing with my kid? Like, normal human being stuff. So I think we need to maybe, like you said, have some more respect for the fact that just because someone follows along because they're not tuned in doesn't necessarily mean those same people are like your enemies or are like people you need to look down upon. And it's hard because it is like a libertarian trigger thing too. Like we always feel like we're the smartest and we've done as much research and we know everything, and maybe we do sometimes, but it is hard to shed that attitude, especially when you do feel you're so right. But honestly, I've been able to look back at myself in the last like 8 years, especially because I have audio evidence of myself over the last 8 years, and like I can see how much I've changed and how much just not me as not necessarily my principles. I don't think my principles have really changed at their core, but the way I approach things, the way I approach conversations, the way I talk to other people, and of course having conversations like these every single week, and many more than every single week really, with all the various podcasts that I do. It helps train you to have conversations, and you can bring that into the real world. And like I said, like I really wanted to have conversations that translated, and maybe they don't always. Maybe there's some episodes I've done that are too highbrow. I don't know, but I still try to approach them in that the everyman kind of way, because I'm not a freaking engineer here. Like I'm not some like rocket scientist really. I'm kind of just a guy who took an interest in this stuff and read some books, but I don't think I'm like a super bookworm either. So I think I can still talk to people in a pretty normal way. So I think that's something we always have to find to do, and I think the other thing we need to get off of is like this idea of convincing everybody that to be a libertarian. And I know that's hard because we want everyone to see the world in the exact way we do, because then they'll be awake, then they'll see everything. And it's good to do that in the terms of leading by example, always speaking your truth and speaking what you speaking about things the way you see them. And that will naturally change some people to take your point of view. But I think being obsessed of converting people to becoming libertarians and being pure libertarians, like I think just approaching that in that way is an approach that isn't effective. People don't want to feel like they're trying to be converted. People want to feel like they're having a real conversation with you. And if you're truthful and stoic about the way you approach to things and the way you see things, the way you speak about things, then naturally people are going to take you seriously, at least. Maybe not on everything, but they might say, oh, well, Mark was actually right about that thing of and then, so maybe he is, so maybe I should listen to him about this other thing. And maybe they don't become libertarians, but you're probably going to actually get more allies that way than if you're just trying to convert everybody. And whenever I say this stuff, I speak to myself and my younger self, my current self, as much as I'm speaking to anybody else. I'm always talking to the man in the mirror. So I think, my criticisms are as much, or if not more, towards me than anyone.